Greetings, everyone. A very warm welcome to another edition of Marketing the Invisible with storms and outages around our place recently. It's been a little while. Very warm welcome. Delighted to be back. Second time round. Hopefully, the recording and the internet holds up this time. Elisa Boogaerts, very warm welcome. Where are you hanging out?
I'm in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, that's a lovely city where you can,
Yeah.
the right time of year, you can be swimming with the dolphins in the morning and skiing in the afternoon, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's fabulous. And Vancouver Island just off the coast there. Beautiful,
Mhm.
beautiful, beautiful, just down the road from
Yeah.
Whistler. Anyway, off geography and the wonders of Vancouver, on to you and your specialty. Folks, Elisa is a launch strategist and fractional project manager. And those are almost like two wings of the same bird, because if you've ever done a launch or been involved intimately inside of a launch, you'll know there are so many moving parts. And one of those parts goes wrong, then you might have wasted, the thick end of months of work. So being competent in terms of launches and what it takes to bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars in a relatively short space of time, building up to that, managing it, and the launch is never over when it's over, as they say, following up from that, etc. So, highly specialized skill set for our market, and one, folks, when you get the right launch strategist and project manager, it can be seriously profitable. I mean, seriously, seriously, seriously profitable. Certainly the most profitable a single event that I've ever been involved in. And Elisa helps established coaches launch their online programs and events with ease so they can scale the business. And scale is a word that's bandied around a lot. Essentially, what it means is that you can grow very quickly with Elisa's help, but also maintain the growth. But it just means it means you're helping a lot more people in a lot less time. And that also means, of course, you may end up, like me, working a 2 or 3 day week and still generating and helping a lot of people generating plenty of revenue. So big intro, but I think it's worth it, Elisa. Let's anything you want to add to that before we get into the interview as such?
No, I don't think so. I think you said it perfectly. I think, yeah, it's a crucial element as we scale and grow and to keep that revenue consistent and, kinda keep everything moving that, yeah, definitely
Uh,
we're gonna have strategy and a project manager. Really,
right.
uh,
And folks, there's an old saying, and I've been doing this for almost 50 years. One of the early sayings I picked up is never leave an entrepreneur in charge of their own idea. And part of that is and you see founders in Silicon Valley getting kicked out of the CEO role after a couple of years. Part of that is because the visionary, the coaches, the entrepreneurs, the solopreneurs are often that high energy person with a lot of ideas. When you get the initial growth, you need to be able to manage that, and that's the reference to never let an entrepreneur be in charge of their own idea. There are rare people that can do both the growth and the management, but very often you're
Mm,
gonna need to supply the jet fuel, and someone else is gonna need to control the frickin' rocket ship. So,
right.
let's kick off the subject today. Thank you for being here again. Elisa, is launch smarter, not harder. Question number 1 is, who's your ideal client?
It is established coaches, and they're making over 6 figures in revenue, 6 figures, multi 6 figures, and they do launches regularly. They launch their programs throughout the year regularly.
Okay, and what's the problem you solve?
I take the stress out of launching your program and putting on events by putting a plan together for your launch and working with your team. So if you're an established coach, working with your team to make sure that everything gets done. And this way, the coach can be out there filling their events, showing up as their best selves to their event. Selling to their ideal clients the program that they're selling. So,
Folks, doing the things that we wanna do. If we're gonna go to work, there are certain things, and generally that's interacting with other human beings. It's not Gantt charts and project management and so on. They're not the things that we are naturally inclined to wanna do. We can do them, but, I think you put it well there, Elisa. It's not putting our best self into the game.
mhm.
So, tell me, question 3 is, what are the typical symptoms that your ideal clients experience before they wake up and realize they need you? What's going on?
Uh, I think they're feeling like they're sort of just keeping their head above water, and like they're like the duck madly paddling and they're like sort of, and they could be sort of on the verge of burnout, especially if they're so in the weeds of their business and they're not actually like able to, be that visionary, be that ideas person.
Right.
And they need to really they need a reliable team who can take ownership and get stuff done without much overhead. So it's a yeah, so that's the thing I think to
Okay.
kind of like step out
So
of.
the
Yeah.
and the do you find they're very often working, part of the weekends?
Yes. 100%
Right.
every day.
Every
Every
day.
day.
So there's compromises they're probably making, so if not with their short term, certainly with their long-term health, mental well-being, probably relationships, and they just need to get this thing scaled. So if it's
Yeah.
you folks, you probably appreciate you're actually really good at what you do, and you might also be wondering why some others who you suspect are not quite as good as what you do seem to be a lot more successful. And Elise has probably got some of the answers. Now, just I'm really endorsing your services, Elisa. We don't have an
Thank you.
affiliate arrangement. We don't have any commission. I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm endorsing it because after decades of making a lot of mistakes and having some success, I've come to appreciate skill sets that you possess. So, folks, if
Thank
it sounds like I'm giving Elisa a strong plug, I am, but for all the right reasons.
you.
Elisa, what would you say are some of the common mistakes? Because, your target market, our target market are growth orientated. They're assertive individuals. They get out there and they just do it. They do it. They do a lot of stuff. Possibly they do stuff that was never going to work. So, what would you say are some of the common mistakes that people make when they're trying to grow or they're trying to launch at scale?
Mm.
And the stuff they're trying is just it's probably doomed to failure.
Yeah, I think that, like I was talking earlier about them, like, really being in the weeds of their business, and therefore they're doing
Mhm.
too much, and so they're gonna burn out, and they're kind of exhausted, and so I think that they micromanage their team a little too much because, of course, it's their baby, it's their business, it's their launch, and they want it to succeed, and so I feel that there's a bit of that micromanagement, or perhaps they don't delegate properly to their team if they have a team, or they don't hire a team with, like, the right skills that they need, right? Like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't even realize a project manager is a thing, and I think there's a lot to say as well about operations. I think that as they grow and scale, like, usually when you start your business, you're not thinking about operational strategies, you're just kind of going for it and doing things, and then as you scale,
Yeah.
you really need to have that, so it's good to have things like an SOP, documentation for onboarding, and having your sort of operations sorted out, so that, your team can come in and know exactly what they need to be doing, and so you don't need to worry about micromanaging that.
Right. So,
It's there, it's
the
set. Yeah.
essentially, the stuff that you're doing that you should stop doing, but are doing quite well needs to be documented, and that's the SOP reference, standard operating procedures, I think. Uh,
Mhm. Yep.
and probably the only exception to that is where someone brings a skill set with them. But yeah, you can't just the mistake I've seen quite a lot is, you know, "My sister's got a friend who just got fired, can you hire her?"
Mm.
The rescuing. Well, the Mother
Yes.
Teresa heart, but okay, and that
Yeah, that's why I think you have to hire the right person and the right team and
yeah,
then
it can
start
be
yeah.
counterproductive, and that's a whole skill set in itself. So let's give folk a top tip. What's one step that they could a valuable free action, an idea they could take action on? It's not going to get them the whole way to the end of the journey, but it might take them a step in the right direction.
Yeah, so like on the same theme of the last question, I think really defining specific roles and responsibilities for each team member and then having that SOP so that they can follow it and they can do their job properly and having checklists, I think is something great for that. Sometimes when I work with my clients, they'll have a couple of different VAs. And so it's like, okay, but who's doing what? Well, everybody's doing everything. Well,
Yeah.
then everybody's kind of stepping on each other's toes. And then I come in and then I'm like, well, I don't know who to delegate this to or who to follow up with. So I think having clearly defined roles and knowing where people are so they can take full ownership of it. And
Right.
there's less, I find it's like when there's kind of scrambling and rush jobs and everybody's kind of running around, that's where mistakes get made. So
Yeah. Okay.
that would
Cool.
be,
And there's yeah. So it reminds me of an old saying that too. Getting to grow is learning to let go, something like that. Yeah. So clearly defined roles, and also there you touched on the distinction between someone having a clear job description with another person on the team who's kind of like ready to step in and knows enough to do that job versus two people doing the same thing and getting confused and not sure what the priorities are, perhaps. So
mhm.
let's give people some more information. Where can they go to find out more about this subject matter and also more about what you do?
Yeah, so they can definitely go to my website, which is launchpartnerpro.com. And I did want to share a gift with you. Can I talk about that now?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we were talking about this, like having roles and building out your team. And I know that setting up the tech for a launch, like there's a lot to do, right? Landing pages, automations, emails.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So I have a checklist for you to hire the right tech person, like a trustworthy tech person. So I give you some prep work to do before meeting with the person, a checklist of questions to ask to make sure that they are the right fit and have the right skills. And
Fantastic.
then giving some, I give you some insider tips as well for spotting any red flags, because you really want to ensure that your tech runs smoothly with a
Oh,
launch. So it's about really getting that kind of interview done well.
that's fantastic. Launchpartnerpro.com/hiring tech pros. I'm on the website now. It looks fantastic. A checklist, nice and simple but comprehensive. Um, yeah, I guess I just want to reinforce this that, and I stopped the timer because I'm talking far too much as usual, to give us a bit of extra time. Um, we can talk about the systems are so important. We've touched on that, the importance of them. There's so many things, logistics, client support, and everything else. So many things that are important. Um, but if you hire the wrong tech people, anyone for that matter, but especially tech people, then however good you've got things, they'll stuff it up. And if you hire the right people, and doesn't matter how bad things are right now, they'll fix it up. So
Yes.
possibly, other than the core strategy or business models, there's probably no other skill that's more important in business than how to hire. And Elisa's just rolled out the red carpet for you, hiring tech pros. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're
29
welcome.
seconds left. What's the one question I should have asked you but didn't? And the answer, please.
Well, we kind of touched on it. I was going to say what's one role that most coaches and entrepreneurs are missing in their team? And I would say that the answer is a project manager, because that project manager strategizes with you. They put a plan together and they're the ones keeping on top of everyone to
Right.
make sure that everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing and getting it done on
Yeah. Yeah. Well said.
and to
Yeah.
budget.
Elisa Boogaerts, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom and
Thank you,
insight.
Tom. Thank you so much, Tom. This
Cheers.
has been awesome.
1 second
Thanks.
to spare.
Thanks for checking out our Marketing the Invisible podcast. If you like what we're doing here, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. It's very much appreciated. And if you want to generate 5 fresh leads in just 5 hours, then check out www.5hourchallenge.com.